Hey YouTube, gaming guy here, and this is going to be how to get the most out of your old components. And yes, I actually do stream in 720p on a modern game Hearthstone using a 4-year-old gaming laptop, and it is possible if you have the know-how. So I'm here. The goal of this video is you just saw at the beginning what I'm actually using my stream setup that I'm about to upgrade, but I figured if there's some of you with some older components that might be interested in streaming, this is the video for you. The goal is going to be within 30 to 40 minutes to give you everything you need to know about what streaming, how to set up your stream, and from the ground up, from not knowing like pretty much anything. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is what I'm actually using. We'll get to that tab later. I do not have an SSD, so I've preloaded as much as I can to save time. This is my setup that was in the video minus whatever that is. So a lot of gaming laptops, I think even today, still have 2 graphics cards, as you see, because it helps where are the graphics cards. This is like kind of like I think they updated it a month down the road. That's the same processor or CPU, but I have the 970, not 980, and there was no SSD, so I think they retroactively did some upgrades, and that's what's here. So most of it's the same. And I did start out using the integrated, but I use an AverMedia USB connected webcam now. I do recommend at least buying a webcam. The integrated, you can do enough, but if you think you're going to have success with it, it is worth the like 160 bucks that I spent on it. So now I'm going to show you how to figure out what's actually in your computer in case you forgot what's in there like I did. So you can go to right click on the Windows, assuming you're using Windows 10, go to your device manager, go to your disk drives. Wait, no, not your disk drives. That's my that's my hard drive. So that's the 1 terabyte. So I don't have SSD, just to prove that. Wrong button. But here's the display adapters, and that's where you'll know if you have 1, 2, 3, etc. graphics cards and what you're actually running if you're using an old system and don't remember. So this is the default one that Windows will select, and this is the one that you can tell it to select the gaming one. That's a lot more powerful than the built-in onboard one. And they do this to save like if I'm just doing like watching a YouTube video, working in Excel, writing a paper, this is just fine. I don't need the max settings and power that this draws. It also saves you money. And the laptops are condensed, so heat's an issue. If you have it set up on balanced, I'm about to go over the power modes, but if you can use this when you're not playing games, you should. It's overall better for the life of your components, and it kind of makes sense why they do it. I don't know if the brand new machines still do this, but if you have one that's at least a couple years old, it might have to, and it might still be a thing because it does make sense. But I'm not well versed on modern laptops. But after you figure out what's in your computer, let's say you do have 2 and you are having a gaming laptop. It's okay if you don't have an NVIDIA graphics card. I'll tell you how to stream if you don't have that and what you can do. But this is for the people that do. Go into your settings. It's probably going to be automatically on balanced. I have one for if I'm done for the night. This is the lowest heat settings to let it to when it idles, turn everything down and let the machine cool off. And then this is for if you're using if I have my NVIDIA, if I want to use that, I give it the most power because so it can perform. It needs more power. And then this is again just for the 4600 for day-to-day work settings. That's kind of what they do. And you can do create a custom plan, and it's pretty intuitive. It's not that complicated. I'm not going to go through it. There's a lot I want to get through in this video. So I recommend having 3, and then saving when you can and on money and your computer life, and then when you're doing your stream or playing your games, you can get more out of it if you do this. Now if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you want to download their GeForce Experience. I'll put a link to that in the description. And after you download it, it'll look like this, and then you can make sure that your drivers are up to date. After you download the latest driver, it works directly with Streamlabs, even with your old cards. I think up to 750 plus on the series. The newest one is the 3000 series. Last generation was 2000. The gen before that was 1000, and it was less than 1000 before that, I believe. So this is, again, a 4-year-old computer. And it has the 970M, not the 980, as you saw when I pulled it up. So that sheet is making Alienware and Dell look a little better. And then the other benefit is you can do the details on what you want the game to specifically do. What settings you want, what like automatically. So that's kind of cool. And if I had other modern games besides Hearthstone on this old machine, they would load. But all my other old games like Diablo, Football Manager, obviously they don't have this type of support because they were made 20 years ago or 13 years ago for that one. So this didn't exist yet. All right, we'll close that because old computers run better, the least amount of things you have open. So if you don't have a new machine, try to limit your amount of things opening. And if you're streaming, definitely just have your stream, your chat, and Streamlabs and the game open and nothing else if you're on an old system. That's like things that you can do to help your quality and your computer. Let's help it, not hurt it. Okay, so I went through that. Okay, so now we are ready to get into Streamlabs. So after you've set it up, you're ready to open. You can, in any program, after it's identified correctly and the driver is updated, you can click which one that you want to run. So a lot of streamers and other people recommend to run an admin. If you want to do that, it gives your game second priority and Streamlabs first priority. So it really helps ensure there's 0 drop frames. The problem with that you're going to run into if you have 2 graphics cards is I think Windows auto selects the HD, so you have to go around and change that. So you can do that if you want. Personally, I've found that I would rather have the game have top priority for Hearthstone because I don't want to lag out of the game to save like maybe less than 1% drop frames. So that's why I don't do it. But if you want to, and there's not that issue of losing a match in like an arena mode that you have to worry about, then yeah, by all means, you just have to do a little bit of extra work. But this is what I do. I right click and I make sure I run it with my NVIDIA, and I'm about to go over why. Bear with the mechanical hard drive, it'll load eventually. Okay, so this is my setup. I'm going to go into my tutorial now. Where's my mouse? There it is. So this is what your stream screen is going to look like. That's your canvas. These are your different scenes and to take up this screen. So for example, I have a break screen if I need to take a break. I don't know why the computer. All right, I'm going to pause the video, and sometimes I have to with my old machine, just more proof that this is an old computer and I'm not clickbaiting you. Let me reload it. For whatever reason, it usually likes me to open it twice. I'm going to pause the video. We'll be back when it's ready to go. Okay, looks like we are back, and there's me. Hey, what's up? And this is the actual scene that I use. So they're called scenes, and only one of these will display at a time. So if I want to go on break, I can simply, say, hey, I got to use the bathroom, and now I'm on break. That would mute me if you were watching me through Twitch, but I'm using different software, so obviously you can still hear me. This also lets you know versus, like I have filters set up so it doesn't get in the red zone and blow people's ears out. So I'll go over that really quickly. We'll just keep this up. So the first thing you want to do is go to streamlabs.com, which will be linked in the description. Go to your themes. Like you don't have to use, I'm not going to click it because my computer will take a while to load it and I'm trying to save your time. But if you go to themes, you can search it in the app too, like in this This is themes. Again, I don't want to load it. So and now that you saw it identified the window, if you go to, so I'll show you a certain setting too in a second. But I recommend getting it from here. You find more off their website than what's in the actual app because they have to load, like link the two. You can find even like alert box specific themes, but you can make your own. That's the other thing I'm going to go over really, really quickly. So you have your themes that you can get your break screens. It'll give you all the different seeds usually in one package. A lot of them are free. You can pick out the scenes that you wanted. And I did the dark matter one, and that's where this break screen came from, and that's where this blue background is from. Okay, so you can get your background, you can get different animated overlays. There's a lot of cool things that you can get for free if you just play around the website. Now, the other thing that I'm going to go over is my what happens for my alert box. So you can see that it's here, and I'm going to change something really quickly. I want to go over. Okay, I'll go over what I'm talking about, then I'm going to explain how the overlays work and what a certain screen is. So we'll just do a test widget. We'll say you followed me on Twitch. That's what comes up, and that's what they'll hear. That's what comes up, and that's what they'll hear in case you couldn't hear me. And I make it loud on purpose to make sure that, it's like, cool, yay, thanks for the follow, thanks for the donation, thanks for the sub. And that's not the typical one that comes with it. It comes with a little walk-in zombie dude. He's like, woo, but you can customize that on the website. So if you go to your alert box and you go to global event types, you can go to like donation, and then this is what I have for donations. You just hit the plus button. You can upload whatever GIF that you find offline, or even if you know how to make it yourself, you can upload it right here. And then the sounds, whatever sounds you want. There's websites that allow you to convert the whole video into an MP3 with a YouTube link, and then you can go to like an MP3 editor for free online. I'm not going to link all of that because I don't want to have like 15 links, but you can, if you guys ask me in the comments, I can link and respond that way. But I'm going to just keep it like 2 or 3 links because I don't want my I want my description to look clean. It's readily available on Google. You can just do MP3 editor free online. I used like the first or second result. I did the YouTube to MP3 Google search and did like the same thing to get these type of stuffs. And then you can GIF search on YouTube, or you can make your own GIF if you know how. I haven't made my own GIFs yet. I just used ones that were made by other people and uploaded so far. Okay, so that is why this is open. There's more customizations like this. This is like obviously you can download. I'll have the download for Streamlabs uploaded in the description. Excuse me. And after you download and you link things, so let me take a step back here. So after you hit this and you download, you hopefully all of that makes sense. So that was like a little bit of now we're going to backtrack a little bit. So let's say you just downloaded, you go to your settings, you just made your Twitch account. You'll go in your general, there'll be like a step-by-step instructions on how to link things. You can Google the instructions, and then once you get your things linked, it'll look like this. And I'm going to go through what settings you should have, but I want to kind of finish off explaining something that if you've used Photoshop, it's the same overlay mechanics as Photoshop. So I'm going to do something to help kind of you see it visually. So you just saw what happened if I did the stream, if somebody followed with the sources, which you can add via. So if you want to add a scene or add a source or add the mixers will be kind of pre there, but you can, maybe if I hit the settings. So these are going to be these are going to be your 2 defaults that you can play with, and then anything that uses sound will also come up there. And you can play with the settings and the setting wheels. Each source Each scene can have, like anything here, you can apply your own filters to. I recommend, I can go over, like, I can't go over every single little thing that I know and keep the video into a nice short length, but for your mic, I recommend getting these filters. This suppresses my fan that's right here. You guys can't see me. I have a fan next to me, so when I'm streaming, people can't hear it. Like it helps suppress the background noise. That's what this does. This lets you not hear the fan because the noise isn't loud enough, so it only cuts the mic on when I'm talking. Compressor helps, like I have two different ones, and you can like if I get mad or excited, whatever, and I want to shout and be loud, I can, and it won't go into this red zone that damages people's ears if they're listening with a headset or headphones. So here are the settings. These are the ones I found that worked for me. They're slightly different than the ones I found online, so this would be a good starting point, and then you could tweak it slightly and see what works in your environment and with your computer. But I'll let it sit for a couple seconds so you can see. And if you guys want me to make another video explaining what each of these values mean, then I will do that. But it's beyond, if I do everything that I know, this video would be like an hour and a half long, which a lot of my videos are longer, I know, but I want this one to be shorter. And the longer videos I feel are fine if I'm like, doing like a let's play, but this is different. So I want to keep it shorter, and this is a overview of everything. If you want specifics on one or two things, you can ask via a comment, or maybe if enough people ask, I'll make a whole video about it. Okay, so that's my audio settings. And now I'm going to explain like the weird overlay look. Now, if you want to get rid of the double cursor, I don't know why my Google Chrome doesn't work. You simply can just switch to Windows 7. Like now it's not going to show up, but you can just deselect that and then the cursor won't work. So I use mostly Windows 7 and up for mostly the things that I use, but for whatever reason I have to use Windows 10 for Google Chrome. I don't understand why, but and then this client area doesn't seem like it still doesn't work. Like it's like I don't understand why they took that function out. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'll explain what performance mode is too. So yeah, any type of source can have filters. The scenes can have filters. There's a whole bunch of customized options that I could literally just have a YouTube channel about Streamlabs and everything you can do, and people do have that. So this is overview to get you started. Everything you need to know. Stop clicking the wrong button. Jesus, just keep that on. Okay. So now, if you've watched somebody stream, oh, Jesus, I cannot. Properties, not performance. Sorry. And you see this screen, and like, you're like, what the hell is that? Like this didn't make any type of sense to me when I saw it. I'm like, what is going on? I can resize the window. And this is probably what most people's actually look like if we just play around with the Windows thing. Just like actually size it down here. Oops. What? Okay, so I don't know why I can't get like a perfect match. I think I kind of did. This is just like some editing. All right, there. So that's like that's pretty close. Let's have it be like that. So you're like, what is this? This makes no sense. Why is there a bunch of why is it like an inception thing on my screen? So what each one of these little windows is, what is being displayed on the screen. So if we move, the alert box is currently on front. It's on the first thing that's being displayed. And it's in front of oh no, it's on the second one. So if we move it up, excuse me, now it'll be displayed on top priority. So the priority goes increasing order, and it's on the first thing. So if we switch to the window capture, you see now it's on the second of the two. And if we add more, like my other scenes that have like 6, that's exactly what the windows are showing and are meant to denote. So hopefully that makes sense. So just to make that a little, to give you a quick example, go back to our Google Chrome. And if you saw what happened if I have it here.
Oh, legendary!
Because it was on the top scene in the top source, it comes over my window. Or you can play games in the windowed mode and have the window capture work, or there's a game capture if it's a newer display source. So if you add the sources, you can use either. You can look up specifically what each one of these sources does. There'll be suggestions to use. I use alert box and event list, and then like some I have chat displayed, and then at least use alert box, and then window capture for minimum. The more you add, keep in mind the more processing power it's going to require, which I'm about to go. I'll go over the settings last. You can look up what each one of these does on your own time. There's a lot of customization options, and it starts here. Okay, so now you see that it's in the foreground. If you move it here, it will now be in the background behind this.
Oh, legendary!
Where did it go? Oh, well, you can't see it because it's behind. So that's how that works, and that's what that screen is doing, and you saw a little bit of a flash of that. And so that's why that screen looks like that. It's the same thing as Photoshop. If you use Photoshop, it's overlays, and that's how they show it. Okay, so let's say you have your background, you want to add your sources, you understand that my chat box, nothing will go over my chat box. Like if I put me here, if I moved my video here and then somebody typed, the text would have flow over my face if I wanted that. So that's how I don't want that, so that's not, but if you did, that's how everything works. So my lowest thing, everything is above my background. Then my next thing is my display capture for the game Diablo 2. And then that's just, I think, a name title. I don't know what that actually does. I don't remember what this is. I don't think it does anything. I could probably delete it. And that's my webcam capture. You can add animated borders and other things if you want to. And then my event list. And then alert box, chat box. And then there's certain things that you can do, like you can hold Alt and not show all of it. You like here, I'll do an example. I think it's Alt, and then you do. Oh look, like I'm just like the whole widescreen that the camera's captured is not being shown. Is that okay? Let me undo that. Okay, good. They're lined up. So you can tell by the pixels that they're exactly lined up. I like everything to be streamlined. And Alt lets you do that kind of cool adjusting. So you can set up your background, you can set up your game, you can get the look that you want. And when you're ready to stream, I recommend right-clicking, and then the final, I'm going to end the video on what the settings mean. Come on. So you see that like the delay with me having the recording going on and the generating the preview takes some CPU and GPU power. So it's good that when you're actually ready to stream and hit this go live button down here, which will come up with your title, and you can right click and over here, if you want to change your title, you right click and you can update, have your game category and everything. I don't want to go live right now, so we're not going to do that. This disables that preview when you know everything looks good, and then you can hit go live. It saves on that processing power, and it really helps the older machine. So it's a really cool function, and I recommend using it. So now that we know that we have our settings, we're ready, we have our preview made, we downloaded our theme, we generated something that we think looks kind of cool, we know what it's going to look like, and we're ready to stream. What settings do we need? That's the last thing I'm going to go over. So first of all, like I said earlier, link your stuff. Probably want to link like a PayPal to. There's step-by-step instructions that you can go on Google to link everything in the way that it needs to be linked. It's pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4 do this. It's not that complicated. Um, so I'm going to. A lot of you probably can just get by with using simple, but I'm going to go over advanced because it gives you more options, and I can talk about each one of the options, and then you can stream in simple or advanced yourself. So first thing is this for my friends that don't have an NVIDIA graphics card, you can still stream. It is still possible. I think you need at least an i5. You're going to want to select X24. Always do CBR. The other three are like more unstable, and they're kind of still in development. But the CBR is the standard. That's the most stable. That's kind of the one. Just use that one. Oh, and what it's actually doing, what Streamlabs is doing, is taking all these overlays that you just made, compressing it into one source on one bit, and sending that to the Twitch's server, and that's being hosted on Twitch's server. And then people come and click and connect to Twitch's server via the internet, and then they see what you're doing live. So that's kind of how everything works in a nutshell type of way. So if you don't have the NVIDIA graphics card, you're going to have to use your CPU to do everything. So imagine it's going to be a lot of pressure on a single system CPU, which is why some people elect to do dual computer streaming for like max quality possible to make sure that no game stream hindrances will affect gameplay like professional streamers and gamers did like that can afford that do that. But with the new 3000 series, it's probably not necessary anymore, thankfully. But anyways, I digress here. So you select your X24. It's going to use your CPU. I think you need at least an i5 mid-range to do anything. And then your output resolution. So that just depends on your components. If you can stream in 1080p, definitely do it, especially if you have that saves on the scaling, which I'll explain in the video section that we'll get to in a second. The bit rate, I'm guessing let's just assume that you have like a 3-year-old laptop and you're thinking about streaming. So if you can do the max settings, do the max settings, obviously. It's going to look better. But let's say that if you have a couple-year-old system or more, you probably want to stream in 720p. Your bitrate, your minimum bitrate, it's always set you to is 2500. The max bitrate Twitch allows is 6000, so you can't really do anything beyond. What you need is 2500 minimum for 720p. I recommend doing 3000 or 3500. I do 3500 just to make sure you don't get internet bottlenecked at any point. It's good to have like 500 extra bits. You can test your speed. 3000 equals 3.0 megabit upload. So make sure you have at least 5 megabit upload to do 3000. You want to have that over so you don't get any lag. Like you want to make sure that your bit rate is like 60% of your overall. You can use the speedtest.net to figure out what you have, and you need to have at least like 5 megabit upload to stream. So you might have to upgrade your internet. Yeah, and then your CPU preset varies from ultra fast to placebo. And it's not like ultra fast means you have your fastest CPU like I first thought when I did this. So this is for like faster CPU to slower CPU. So it's the time spent rendering to the bitrate. The less time the computer spends rendering the CPU, the crappier the quality for one, and two, the easier it is on the component. So if you have a i5 that's old and you want to just get something there to maybe like see if you want to upgrade your components and it's going to be worth it for you and to become affiliate and start the dream chasing or whatever, ultra fast is like the bare minimum. So if you're lagging with that, you have to upgrade something. Most people recommend doing medium's the highest quality. Below that is diminishing returns. Faster is like if you can get in one of these ranges and even to very fast, that's what I used to stream on. That's like almost like it's not that noticeable. It's just slightly noticeable. So just click each one and see how much you lag. If you go to, I'll link the test my Twitch. It'll tell you. It'll explain. I'll link that in the description. I'll actually pull it up at the end of the video. Oh, I'll pull it up right now since I'm talking about it. So you go here to inspector.twitch.tv. I don't understand. So I guess that's good for you guys. You can say run a stream test, and then it tells you what to do, and then you'll see your lag events. I don't know how it delinked. That's weird. From my last stream had like a couple events from the Wi-Fi. If you have 5 gigahertz versus 2.2, use the 5 gigahertz. It has higher bandwidth and bit rate, so you need the higher bit rate. And occasionally it'll crash and it'll char it did last night, and I had like one event to where I actually DC'd. So because the 2.2 is like really, it's more stable, but it's the half the bit rate, so it's not good for streaming. So back to what we were talking about. Yeah, so that is everything you need to know. Your recording settings, like your simple, it'll just be like what type of quality. Keep in mind, if you're on an old computer, I don't recommend recording while you're streaming. It doubles what your computer's doing, and it's already trying to do a lot. So if you don't have like a computer like, or a laptop specifically that's like less than a year old, don't bother with recording while you're streaming. You can always just download your VOD later when you're offline, and that'll be better for your recording needs if you want to make like YouTube videos. But if you do have a new computer, I usually just kind of make it the same settings as whatever my stream is. Okay, so that's now if you have an NVENC and why you would want to do the GeForce and update your driver, because the new drivers allow this NVENC codec to do the encoding to take the burden off the CPU. Because if your CPU is above 60% usage, it'll probably spike to 99% at certain points during your stream, and anytime that spike happens, it's going to be drop frames, and that's stream lag to your viewers. And nobody likes lag. If you're a gamer, you know lag is always the enemy. So that's why this usually like will cut the CPU usage. I was at that's the exact scenario I just described, and now my CPU doesn't go above like 70% even on the spikes. Usually it's hovering at about 50% usage, so it's like night and day difference. I don't know why. I don't like that when I switch it, it gets rid of my settings that I had. Okay. So this is the settings I use. I stream in 720 because I have a 4-year-old laptop, and that's what I should do. The bitrate necessary minimum is 2500. I put it to 35 because I have fast internet, and that helps, you know, with the quality. So this is like the same thing as before as the very fast to placebo. If you have good components, you can do quality or even max quality. These are kind of mid-tier. I would, so like the medium options, I use the performance over quality just to help my computer be able to do it. It doesn't look that much different, honestly. So I keep it on performance. I don't really need to go all the way down to max performance on this machine. Profile, keep it high. You don't need look ahead on unless you're doing like slow motion, fast FPS. If there's like slow motion scenes, that helps it not lag, but I don't really need that for what I do. Psychovisual tuning, is just like it helps it encode. It's a good thing to keep on. I can't remember exactly what it does, but I know I know enough that it's good to keep on. The B frames recommended about is 2, and that's for like slow motion type things that I was describing. It goes up to 4 if you have a lot of high pace and then slow motion cutscenes in your game. You might want to do 4. You can even do 0 if you're playing just like CS:GO. 1 is fine, but 2 is recommended. If you're doing 4, you want to be on a great machine, so I recommend 2. So that's the settings you need with the recording. Audio, you can just kind of leave on default, just select your device. And then your scale, your base canvas resolution is whatever your monitor resolution is. A lot of you might be able to not downscale at all. If you have the same, if you have a nicer monitor, then you would downscale to that, or you can downscale to whatever. If 720p doesn't work out, you could theoretically go down to 480. It would look fine for phone users. And it's something, something new, and it's still worth it. I recommend at least 720p. I would do 720p 30 FPS before dropping down to 480p. If you can't do 480p 30 FPS, you need to upgrade your components, and you can for $500-600 just build a desktop, and you would be able to do definitely this at 60 FPS, if not this at probably even this at 60 FPS on one machine. But um, there's other specs. That's a whole other conversation to have. This is trying to get the most out of what you have currently to see if you want to spend. That's a lot of money to spend on something. So this is like proof of concept before making a big purchase is the idea behind that. That's kind of what I did. Uh, the downscale filter is, when it's getting downscaled to the correct size. If it's not downscaling at all, bilinear is fine. If you keep it on bilinear, it'll be less GPU or CPU rendering, but it'll look a lot more pixelated. So this is the highest quality per downscaled. Since I use the NVENC, my computer can handle this. 60 FPS is the recommended for any type of game to get the most and to not notice anything. I would recommend having at least 30, unless you're playing like Flight Simulator where the game is only going in like 24, which is what movies are shot in. Then you want to do at least 30. So if you have to drop below 30, you need to drop your output. And then your output, you can look up the recommended bit rates on Google, and Twitch will tell you per resolution. But I don't think they might not even have the 480p. I think everybody recommends to just make sure you at least can do 720 for the viewership. So yeah, that's the settings you need. There's hotkeys you can set up for your mute buttons. Processing priority. I'm glad I'm clicking through this. So I switched this. Its default is high. Switch it to above normal. It kind of helps with the load on the computer. You don't want to have it on normal or like below normal. It won't get enough priority, and it could cause lag issues. I think I left these on default. All these other settings, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember doing anything else. So I think everything else is just default. Yeah, this is default. I didn't play around with this. Appearance. Okay. And then when you want to do your test, you can log out of your Twitch. A lot of times I think you can just add a custom destination to set up that the inspector thing, and you can test your internet. Because the last thing I'm going to go over is how to diagnose problems, and then we're going to end the video because we're at the time the goal time for this video, trying to not make it super long. Just enough to get you started on Streamlabs, and then I'll be making a second video to explain the Twitch dashboard and how to customize it and how to use Twitch. So those two videos should be enough knowledge and know-how for you to set up something and hit the ground running, and then learn the customization as you go. This is like condensing 6 hours of my time into 40 minutes of your time, so I hope you appreciate it. Figuring out all these little ins and outs that I know. So yeah, you hit your stream, you have your key, which you should never show anybody. You attach the question mark, bandwidth test equals true, which is the command to let it know to go to the test server. You could probably add the destination. Maybe you have to be Twitch Prime. I haven't played around with that. And then you can see if you're getting skip frames here, but your Twitch thing is stable because your internet's stable on the website, you know that it's your settings are too advanced for your computer, and your computer can even cause like lag events. But if you see that this is green, and you can pull up your task manager too to figure it out. If your computer is running at like below 50% GPU, below 50% CPU, it's not your computer. If this is dropping frames and you see lag events on the test server for Twitch, then you know it's your internet and your bitrate needs to drop. And if the bitrate can't be at least a stable 2500, you need to upgrade your internet provider or service. Okay, so that is an overview of Streamlabs, and I recommend using Streamlabs over the Twitch one. Yeah, the Twitch one's easier to use and to get you started in like 5 minutes, but it looks a lot worse. And this allows you to customize, and it's free, and it's not that complicated and scary. So if you want to see, if you like this video and you want to see more content like this, uh, like hit the subscribe button down below, like, comment, let me know if you want to see like a specific audio or source or more things in Streamlab that I know how to do. Then I can, and customization options, I'm happy to make more videos like this. There will be a second video about Twitch and the Twitch dashboard, just a quick highlight on how to get like a professional looking Twitch dashboard and enable links, in about 40 to 30 minutes. So same type of style as this. So thank you guys for watching. Check out my Twitch, which is going to be linked below, twitch.tv, gaming guy, /gaming guy 091, and have a nice day. I appreciate you stopping by.